Good day to everyone. My name is Prince Ashvik Sabio. To continue our report about specific learning disability. To refresh your minds, it is a disorder that disrupts psychological processes with regards to understanding or in using language, spoken or written, that may manifest in the imperfect ability to listen, think, speak, read, write, spell, or to do calculations mathematically. So, in this part, we'll tackle about the involvement of parents of the family of which that is or are having specific learning disability. Also, the treatment and the interventions. First up, parents provide critical input. Parents and guardians have the most complete understanding of a child's physical, social, developmental, and family history. They are the only adults in the educational process who have been and will be deeply involved throughout the child's school career. That continuity is very valuable. Parents may not be educators themselves, but they bring their years of experience in other professions and aspects of life to the process, along with their experience with their own child. So, as a parent, one should be very attentive in assessing and guiding their children, especially when they have learning disability. Next, parents know their children best. Can we read the text presented in the screen together? Okay, here it goes. Parents have the opportunity to sit side by side with their children, working through homework and other learning activities for extended periods. Parents may be the only adults who closely observe students' work and get feedback from their children. Consequently, no one else has the perspective of a parent in a meeting. While kids attend school about 6 hours a day, they may only have a few minutes of a teacher's undivided attention in a class. Parents have the opportunity to sit side by side with their children, working through homework and other learning activities for extended periods. Take note, parents should strive to attend meetings to ensure participation in decision making and to provide input on all aspects of their children's education. Next, the role of the parent on the IEP team. First, let us wonder on what IEP really is. IEP stands for Individualized Education Program or Individualized Education Plan. The plan will include your child's classification, placement, services such as a one-on-one aid and therapies, academic and behavioral goals, a behavior plan if needed, percentage of time and regular education, and progress reports from teachers and therapists. Since the IEP is planned at an IEP meeting, there will be a so-called team. Your dealings with the team that plans your child's individualized education plan or the IEP may reflect one or both of those visions, and there may be times you'll wish you could load up on protective padding before heading in to be tackled again. Other times, you may feel that you and your teammates are actually on the same side, trying to score on behalf of your child and not against one another. With this being said, parents are vital to the IEP team process. They provide information on the child's strengths and weaknesses, at home, background information on the child's history and development, and information on any family factors that may affect the child's learning. Parents should be prepared to offer insight into whether current strategies and instruction are helping child learn and provide suggestions for change and improvement. Thus, thus, in this back and forth communication, listening to your child's educators so you can practice at home, and having the educators hear your thoughts so they can follow through at school will be less confusing to your child, and it will be reinforced on efforts on both sides. Next, parents provide insight on transitions. Only the parent accompanies the child throughout these important school and life transitions. The parent's input at each transition can ensure that appropriate services and supports are in place and increase the chances of the child's success in the new program. By such, transition meetings are held to discuss movement from one school level to another, from one program to another, or to a post-secondary program job or assisted living program. Therefore, parents should attend such meeting of the IEP to share vital information that will be used to assess their child with special needs. Lastly, parents are their child's best advocate. There is no one as interested in and motivated to see a child succeed and thrive than their own parents, and this alone places the parent in a crucial role on the IEP team. So, how can you advocate for your child? First up, observe your child's learning styles. Despite the specialized tests which attempt to discern how children learn best, parents are in the best position to watch this in action every single day. Number 2, learn as much as you can about your child's disability. When parents first learn of their child's learning disability, they often fear the unknown. For instance, you might wonder how you and your child are going to get through this, or you might wonder about your child's future. So, it's better to seek for enlightenment to know what your child needs. With some understanding and patience, you can learn to cope up as well as take steps to empower your child to work through the learning disability. Number 3, correspond with teachers and other professionals in writing whenever possible, and hang on to these communications so that you can refer back to them. Many parents are like this even if they don't have children with learning disability. Most parents tend to have a contact with whom they are consulting with regards to their child's health status, grades, and performances. In these contexts, parents have to communicate with those professionals that are helping and handling their child to cope up with their disability, so that when a difficult situation would occur, they can have someone who can back them up. Lastly, keep careful records of your child's education, including any testing and any IEP reports. Find a way to file these carefully so that you have them on hand readily if needed. This is just like keeping records of any important document that needs to be kept properly due to its indispensability. Yeah. Any records of your child's education is important for the transitioning of his or her life. So, let's move forward to the treatment and interventions. But first, let us read this one. Learning disabilities have no cure, but early intervention can lessen their effects. People with learning disabilities can develop ways to cope with their disabilities. Getting help earlier increases the chance of success in school and later in life. With this being said, there are still things we can do than curing. It is to intervene in the early years of a child that has a learning disability. And now we'll proceed to the next slide. Experts can help a child learn skills by building on the child's strengths and finding ways to compensate for the child's weaknesses. Interventions vary depending on the nature and extent of the disability. First one, dyslexia. Intensive teaching techniques. This is the first intervention, unlike a treatment. These can include specific step-by-step and very methodical approaches to teaching reading with the goal of improving both spoken language and written language skills. These techniques are generally more intensive in terms of how often they occur and how long they last, and often involve small group or one-on-one instruction. Next, classroom modifications. Teachers can give students with dyslexia extra time to finish tasks and provide tape tape tests that allow the child to hear the questions instead of reading them. Third one and the last, use of technology. Children with dyslexia may benefit from listening to audiobooks or using word processing programs, given that they have a problem with the writing, so they are more suitable in audio type learning. Next disability is the dysgraphia. The treatment and intervention that we can use are the special tools, use of technology, reducing the need for writing. First one, special tools. Teachers can offer oral exams, provide a note taker, or allow the child to videotape reports instead of writing them. Computer software can facilitate children being able to produce written text. Second, use of technology. A child with dysgraphia can be taught to use word processing programs, including those incorporating speech to text translation, or an audio recorder instead of writing by hand. Lastly, reducing the need for writing. Teachers can provide notes, outlines, and pre-printed study sheets. This is somewhat similar to dyslexia, that is that a child or a person is more suitable in learning in such manner of hearing than writing. Next disability. Next one is dyscalculia. The set of interventions and treatments are visual techniques, memory aids, and computers. Visual techniques. Teachers can draw pictures of word problems and show the student how to use colored pencils to differentiate parts of problems. Second, memory aids. Rhymes and music can help a child remember math concepts. Third, computers. A child with dyscalculia can use a computer for drills and practice. Next is the nonverbal learning disability. Use simple, concrete, and clear language. This one, explain figures of speech as you use them. Explain jokes and identify sarcasm in words that have more than one meaning. Break down one abstract concepts and rephrase if needed. So, as possible, make it as clear as water. Second, social skills group. It can teach kids how to interact with friends, how to stay safe around strangers, and how to recognize when they are being teased. Number 3, occupational therapy. This helps build fine motor skills and can teach the meaning and importance of facial expressions. Lastly, the oral written language disorder and specific reading comprehension deficit. The set of interventions and treatments are as follow. Ask the child to write new letters and words via tracing paper. It is to allow them to get a grasp and an idea of how to write letters, how to write the letters, the movement involved, and what it looks like on the page afterwards. So that's why. The second one, asking them to regularly feedback on pieces of writing. It is to improve their comprehension of language. For example, asking them to explain what they have been reading every few minutes, to observe what information they are absorbing. Lastly, physical sports. This is it can be recommended to help improve motor skills and hand-eye coordination. And this may also encourage the child to engage with their peers and make friends. So, encourage them to have physical sports. For the final part, I'll share to you about this another personality that has a learning disability. This is Mr. Keanu Reeves. I know lots of men like him, and women have fallen in love with this guy for he has the looks and charisma that outstand others. On the other hand, maybe only few knew that Mr. Keanu Reeves has a dyslexia. He was born to a British mother and Hawaiian father in Lebanon. His unusual first name is Hawaiian for cool breeze over the mountains. He moved around a lot as a child and struggled with school due to his dyslexia. When he was a teenager, he was expelled because, in his own words, I was just a little too rambunctious and shut my mouth off once too often. I was not generally the most well-oiled machine in the school, he said. He didn't finish high school because he had trouble reading. Despite his reading troubles, Mr. Reeves discovered a deep and enduring passion for Shakespeare. You've heard it right. Shakespeare. I recite Shakespeare to calm myself down, he told 17 magazine in 1994. I love Shakespeare. When I was 18, I did Romeo and Juliet on stage. It's very relaxing. When you read it out loud, try it. I really like Hamlet, said Mr. Keanu Reeves. And that's all for this discussion. Thank you, and may you all have a great day ahead. Keep safe, everyone. Bye bye.